Well, good afternoon, everyone. It's exciting to be here presenting, securing, and testing with MikroTik. Okay, some short presentation about me. I'm security analyst and wireless service provider with 16 years of experience and also have several certifications and MikroTik certification. The objective of this presentation is to show the MikroTik tools that help to test and audit firewall and QoS policies. To meet these objectives, we will show two scenarios. In each of these scenarios, we will configure firewall rules or policy queues. Then we will test rules using MikroTik traffic generator. The duration is 30 minutes, 5 minutes the presentation, and 50 minutes the first scenario, and 10 minutes the second scenario. Okay, we have a problem. We have a problem and we try to resolve the problem. We have a problem when we try to teach on when we try to audit or to set up difficult configuration. For instance, here we have a firewall configuration around 100 rules, and it is possible that some of these rules drop legitimate traffic, or maybe it's possible that some of these rules don't work that expected. We have several symptoms. Everyone knows these symptoms. Then we need a solution. We need tools to test and teach. And where can we find these tools? The first time that I prepared this presentation was for the Train the Trainer in Prague. There is here some colleagues. And when I prepared this presentation, there was some virtual machines, but it's very difficult to make some things with these virtual machines in the class. In this time, I discovered the power of MikroTik. There are a number of tools in MikroTik, for instance, ping and sniffer, traffic generator, and external tools, similar. But we don't need this external tool with MikroTik. Let's go to the first scenario. In this scenario, we will test 3 sets of rules to limit a SIM flood attack. Here is the scenario. On the right, we have the attacker, and on the left, we have a border router. The attacker will use a SIM flood technique, and the attacker has connectivity layer 2. You can see in the picture. Okay, a little review about TCP handshake is very easy. I think everyone here knows the 3 ways. First, the client sends the SYN message. The servers acknowledge with a SYN acknowledge, and the client responds with an acknowledge. Very easy. Where can I find the TCP flags in MikroTik? Okay, you can find in the Advanced tab, there is the TCP flags. The technique is very old. Normally, everyone knows async flood attack, and it's very simple. The attacker sends async packet, millions of them, and the server go down because he hasn't sufficient resources. Okay. First, we configure the rules. Here we have our test workflow. The first step, we will set up the rules in the firewall. Here we have the first policy. Very easy. There is a connection limit, 20 connections per IP. Very simple, the rule. Okay, there is a survey online. You can read the code, and you can participate online. Let's go to prepare the traffic generator to attack our target. We need traffic generator. It's a tool from MikroTik. And this tool can generate raw packets, and not only generate raw packets. We can collect statistics, okay? Latency, jitter, and so on. Let's go to crafting some packets. This is the workflow for prepare a test. First, we need set up the port. After, we prepare the template. And last, we send these packets. We remember our scenario with the attacker on the right and the border router on the left. Very simple. We set up the ports. In our case, is Ether1. And let's go to packet templates. In this case, we need 3 headers: MAC, IP, and TCP. The first one is MAC, and we collect the addresses from the interface and from the IP networks. We put the IP addresses, and here there is a little bit trick, because I did some capture with Wireshark and get the TCP header. We prepare the string, and now we can test our configuration. This attack is very strong. We need only maybe 10 or 50 megabits of traffic, and the target is absolutely down. I was speaking about the core router 136. We send the attack with the quick start utility, and you can see the transfer rate. Let's go to the other side, to the border router, and we can see the counter. Which is the problem in this case? I get this configuration from the wiki, and this configuration doesn't work. Why? Because never establish the connection, okay? Because we only send TCP sync, the first part of the communication. Okay, let's go to the policy 2. In this case, no connection. There is a limit of packets. You can see 20 packets per second. And we can try other time with the traffic generator sending package to the target. We send, and we can see in the picture that this rule works, but it's a little bit strange because every 2 seconds is the time of the refresh of counters. There is 40 packets more, okay? This configuration is also from the wiki and from the forum, okay? The problem here is we are catching 20 packets per second. The rest is out. Okay, let's go to the policy 3. Now we have 3 rules. The first one is to jump to a special chain, the syncflood chains. In this chain, we limit to 100 packets per second. And we drop the rest of the traffic. In this case, we can send the attack to the target, and we can see that this works. Okay. For the second scenario, I think it's one of the biggest challenges when you are making configuration, when we need set up quality of service configuration. In this case, the scenario is a little bit more complicated. There is in the center a router with quality of service, and on the right, there is a MikroTik router simulating a voice over IP telephone. On the left, we have other equipment, and below, we have a router behind one LAN. The configuration are very simple. Only one IP address. Okay, but in the QoS router, we prepare a Q3 configuration to prioritize voice traffic. For the reason, we prepare Mangle rules, and we need mark DSCP with the value 26 for SIP, and the value 46 for RTP. The Q3 is very simple, only for call out. There is a limit for packet from the LAN. It's a 10 mega limit, and there is a limit for the voice, RTP, and SIP, 100 kilowatt. Okay, let's go to prepare the packets. We have other time our testing workflow. We will prepare this time 3 kinds of packets: the RTP, the zip, and other kind of packet with spoofing from the LAN. We need different values because here is type of service. Then we need change 20 Cs for 104 and 40 Cs for 184. We remember the scenario. On the left is the attacker or the simulator, and in the other side, there is the quality of service router. We have here the template. There is 3 templates. One of them is normal traffic from router, and there is other 2 templates for voice. The first one you can see is RTP with MAC, IP, and UDP headers. MikroTik assumes some values, in this case the MAC, and you don't need to put the MAC in the header. You only need to put the IP addresses. For RTP, you need ports between 10,000 and 20,000. And in this case, we use 15,000. And here, there is the zip packet, and we only need to put the addresses and the DSCP 104. Okay. Now, we try to spoof the LAN network. We put the addresses of the other router to simulate the other router. And finally, we send the packet. We can stabilize the packet size and the packets per second. In this case, 50 packets per second. Okay? And for over IP zip, we send 1 packet per second. And here is the string for the router LAN with 20 megabits per second. And here we can see how the router, the attacker, is sending the packets. And here we can see the results in the Mangle and in the Q3. You can see for voice over IP, it's not queuing. Okay. With this presentation, I tried to explain that with a router of under 20 euros, you can send very strong attack, okay? And maybe we need some education about security. In this case, I present an outline about one course, security course. I send the outline to the MikroTik people. And we are preparing in my company this course. with this subject. Introduction, best practice, authentication, AAA, common threads, cryptography, because I think it's very important field for us, like professional, and securing protocols. The most important protocols, dynamic protocols. Also, there is a part of IPv6 security and high availability module. A little disclaimer, because someone maybe want to use some part of the presentation in real networks, and I think it's not a good idea. And this is the end. Thanks a lot, Habala. You can find the presentation. Thanks a lot to Fayar, he's one colleague from Indonesia. And there is the reference for all the presentation. Also, the labs are available for GNS3. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Jose. Do we have questions? Okay, thank you. So, our final presentation for the day and for the MAM will be MikroTik as a Soho router. Lessons learned by Arijan Siska from Slovenia.